I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here. On Book Chat, you'll find book roundtable discussions, recommendation lists, author interviews, and more. If you'd like to check out book reviews and other bookish posts, please visit the blog at shelfaddiction.com. This is episode 178. Tonight on Book Chat, we are continuing the Three Bloggers One Series read-along and discussing Wicked Edge, book 2 of the 5-book series. If you'd like to comment on something you hear during today's episode, you can find me on Twitter, as well as my book blogger co-host. Tweet at us using our special hashtag 3BookBloggers One Series. That's using the numeric 3 and 1. Again, that's hashtag 3Bloggers One Series. As always, if you'd like to email in feedback or questions, feel free to reach out to me at info@shelfaddiction.com or call in and leave an internet voice message via SpeakPipe. I hope to hear your thoughts on tonight's discussion. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. Hey everyone, we are back again, and we are talking about the second book in the Realm Enforcer series, Wicked Edge. And joining me are two lovely ladies back again, Nicola and Cece. Ladies, introduce yourself real quick.
Hey everybody, this is Nicola with Alpha Heroes, and ready to come and talk more about books.
Hi everyone, I'm Cece. I'm a reviewer at Literary Escapism and an editor at Heartful of Ink.
Awesome. Thanks ladies for joining again. It's a pleasure. So you guys, just before we start, spoiler alert, you know we talk spoilers here, so if you haven't read the book yet, click exit, read it, and come right back, because I think you'll have a lot of fun with our conversation tonight. So let's just dive right in. Okay, so this is book 2. I don't know, how far along have we picked up the story? I don't even know. How much time has passed? Does anyone know?
I think a couple weeks.
Okay. Well, so we picked up the story.
I understand the question.
Like, how much time has passed between book 1 and 2? Because I always like to kind of get like an idea of where we are in the world as far as timeline. So has it only been a week, a couple days, a month? I don't know. I don't remember.
It seems like a couple of weeks, maybe, like not years or months or anything like that. But the original couple went off to Ireland, I think, and there's a little bit of stuff about what happened to the bad human guy in the last book, and they've kind of talked about possibly some unfinished business there, but not a lot of time, but not like the day after either.
Well, I do feel that this book opened with a bang, kind of. We meet the heroine, Cece, and we meet Dare, one of the brothers, and they have a very interesting interaction right off the bat. I'm like, okay, what's up with that? But all right, we'll roll with it.
I love that opening chapter. I loved it.
You did?
I did. Mm-hmm. So we got a teaser of it in the first book, right? So I read it a month ago with the first book, and I read it again with this one, and it was funny to sort of know what was coming. But just for spoilers, basically they meet at the motorcycle club bar, whatever party, and he's just like smitten at first sight. Not love at first sight would probably be the wrong word, but they're gonna they have an instant attraction, and she says something like, "Are you sure you're safe with me?" And he looks her up and down, and she's like 2 feet shorter than him. He's like, "I think I'll be all right." She's like, "Remember you said that." I just
and actually, I think that foreshadowed her character perfectly as far as how dangerous she actually is. And I think that's awesome how dangerous she is. I love that she is not the typical, like in the previous book, you're a human, you're weak, you have to be protected. She isn't. And she doesn't need anyone to protect her, even though Dare's like, I'm going to. But I love that she was strong. And, as we're told lots of times, she's very small and petite and dainty, but she's very strong. Yep. So I like that contrast.
He said that a lot in the very beginning. He called her tiny and petite and delicate repeatedly, just to make sure that the reader knew that she was tiny and delicate. And then she drugged him immediately.
Yeah.
which was awesome.
She kicks some ass in this book. I mean, she took down a lot of bad guys. And it wasn't always with drugs.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, they judge a book by its cover. Her sons, too. Everyone. They see her and they're thinking, oh, you should just sit here and knit. Or don't go anywhere. Stay here and be protected.
Be decorative.
Yes. Yes. And she's like, no, you don't know me at all. This is not me. I'm about to take care of this. It's my problem. And let's talk about her problem. She is like, this whole book is focused on her trying to right a wrong and take down someone who did her family dirty. So what do you guys think about the villain of the book?
I think he didn't get a ton of screen time, page time, if you will, but they made him sufficiently awful that I was glad to see him go. It looked like there was a little bit of baggage from the first series that we didn't read, so I think that having read the first book might have made him a little more three-dimensional, or the first series, I mean. But I don't know for sure.
Yeah, he was kind of flat, I think, but he was definitely nasty, that's for sure.
I saw him as more like a cartoon villain twisting his evil mustache and laughing in the background. He was just evil. There wasn't any motive for him, or the motive that they gave him. I didn't feel like it was enough. Because
he was just disgruntled
to her a century ago, and now he wants her back.
Yeah.
And they kept talking about the war that had just ended, which I assume was the first series, which, again, I haven't read, so I don't know anything about that. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying, that I think...
But why didn't this happen during the war? Like, I felt like this whole plot line would have been better in the war when everything was all upset, you know? She should have attacked him while he was busy fighting in the war. Or he could have kidnapped her while everybody was off busy with the war. Like, her sons are fighting the war. They wouldn't have been able to protect her. That would have been the perfect time for him to go kidnap her and make the babies that he wanted. Like, that was my biggest question. Why didn't this happen during that war?
Yeah, and why did she wait? Like, I remember, obviously her husband was the catalyst. Him killing her husband was like the thing that said, okay, I'm going to get you. But obviously her husband has been dead for a while. Like, what? And I guess she was just plotting this whole time and trying to get her strength up and ready to fight him. So I guess maybe now is just the time she feels like she's able to take him. Maybe that's why she didn't act sooner.
She'd been plotting for decades, though.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Decades.
So I don't know why she waited till after the war when she would have had the stuff in place already. Mostly. I'm not...
Yeah.
That was just my biggest question. Why wait until now?
Yeah, I take a lot of stuff just kind of at face value when I start jumping into these series. I feel like if I'd read the first series, I might be able to answer that more definitively, but I'm willing to accept that, the moment is right for the two of them at this point. I don't remember what she said about how things were lining up. Maybe it was all the movement of the money for the drug that they're producing. That's kind of the central series arc for this one, is this Planakite stuff that they're trying to get a handle on. So there's financial transactions happening between the traitor witch and the what was the bad guy's name? I can't remember. So
I don't know what was his name.
I guess is all I'm saying. It didn't distract me too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think the focus was more on her activities and Dare trying to stop her from doing what she wants to do. And then at some point, I feel like it was around maybe 60 or 65% or something. Her sons kind of enter the picture, and they're like, what are you doing?
I love the scene where they come in and they're like, Mom?
Yeah.
Everybody just like, wait, whoa, what just happened? I don't know. I love, there's a couple of scenes similar to that just made me laugh out loud. So it was so I don't know, human sounding when the teenager walks in on his parent doing something adult and is like,
oh yeah,
you're a person?
yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, and I think it was Logan that walked in and was like, Mom, what are you doing here? And, he was very upset and irate, like, you're not going in that bedroom. You're not talking to him. You better sit down somewhere. She like, excuse you. I am the mother, basically. Slow your roll.
And because I said so, I love it.
Yeah.
So I really liked the interactions with her and her sons. I thought they were endearing in a demonic sort of way.
Yeah, and I also loved how Dare backed down. Like, okay, you handle your kids. I'm just going to sit here and chuckle. Like, he doesn't really interact. Like, I like that he knows where his place is as far as her kids are concerned. And he didn't try to, control that. Like, he tried to control her a little bit. But at least he knew, don't cross that line. That's a woman and her kids. Leave it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was out to stop her from what she was doing initially. Initially, he just wanted to, kick her butt for drugging him, and he didn't know what was going on. And it took a while for them to figure out they were really on the same side, but he was still kind of mad that she,
I don't know if mad is the word I'd use. He was trying to do something else to her besides kick her in the butt.
Well, I mean, he was talking about killing her.
Finish what they started.
There's all kinds of strong emotions there.
Well, let me just get you back for drugging me, but wait, let's have sex first. Then I'll kill you. How about that?
You're awful pretty, but you got to go down.
I mean, he really did hate that she was lying to him. And I mean, that kept coming up over and over. He's like, you're going to stop lying to me. Like, you're going to tell me the truth. Like, in this threatening way. Oh, and speaking of threatening way, there was this one part that I kind of just rolled my eyes so hard. Okay, so it was like this whole time she kept the secret from him. Like, she's not telling him that she's trying to protect him. She's not telling him like what her ultimate goal is. And he's like, I'm going to tickle you and you're going to tell me. And then all of a sudden she caves when he goes to tickle her. I'm like, wait, you drugged the man, he chased you down. And you held your tongue, but now he's going to, under the threat of tickling, you're going to tell him. I'm like, what? Okay.
I think that was just meant to be a little bit more humanizing or something. I don't know. That was kind of silly.
I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, don't touch me.
Understand, Tamara. I said, maybe you're not ticklish enough to understand.
Well, you know what? Actually, okay, we'll leave that alone. We'll leave that alone. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I like them as a couple. I like them. I like the push and pull that was going on between them. But I don't know. I just wanted to feel more connected to either one of them. Like, there wasn't anything quote unquote wrong with them as a couple. I mean, they did just fine. I kind of liked how they eventually came together, and even how they kind of marked each other without really talking about it. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Again, it was like more of, she was an active participant and just things weren't happening to her. I really liked that.
Yep.
She was taking control of her life, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't sitting back and knitting. She was robbing banks and getting attacked by polar bears.
It's a very action-oriented series, right? It's not as character-driven as a lot of romance or paranormal romance even. It's not so much about, their the changing of their feelings internally, which is there's nothing wrong with that, and I love that about a lot of books, but this book I think was way more about like the action movie kind of pacing. Something blows up, run away, figure it out, blow something else up, run away.
And in between that, let's have sex. Okay, we're on the run. You're all sliced and diced, but hey, we're naked in a sleeping bag, so let's do this. That's how action films go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was one of those like sex on horseback kind of things. It's part of the fantasy. It's not really.
Yeah.
On.
Yeah.
But On the topic of things that are a little bit over the top, I just have to say, polar bears, that's not how polar bears work.
Oh, yeah. Those are some vicious polar bears.
So they don't live or hunt in packs. I'm a Girl Scout leader, just for those of you in the audience who might be listening, which means I have all these random facts from projects that the girls have done over time, and endangered species come up all the time. And so I have all these random facts, and polar bears do not just attack in a herd. There's not even a word for a group of polar bears. It's they're loners. They might have a family group, but there's not like 5 or 6 of them out hunting in a pack. That's wolves. That's not bears. So that made me laugh.
I had a lot of issues with that scene. The viciousness of the polar bears felt so wrong. And her artery got hit like twice, but she still managed to save everybody and ride away. And 3 pages later, she finally started healing herself, even though she should have bled out much earlier if her artery was hit.
Well, she's a demon, she doesn't have human weaknesses. You gotta roll with this stuff.
And her face was completely clawed open, and she was totally fine.
But didn't he cauterize her wounds or something?
Yeah, after she got
herself?
hit, rode around, saved him, rode off into the sunset with him, and they talked, and she finally pulled her jacket off, and I was like, it's been a while. Have you bled out yet? Your bone is showing.
Oh, Cece, you and your realistic physiology.
I'm sorry. I can't. But to back it up further, why was she there in the first place? She was there to blow up the mine. To me? But she already had her team in place with them, and they blew up the mine for her. Without her,
what was her purpose if she had a team do it?
That was explained. She was meeting the witch that she ended up killing, or that the polar bears ended up eating. She was there to meet him, and he was going to show her something. Maybe they were going to try to look at. Oh, that's what it was. She wanted to scope out Dare's mines, so to speak.
At the same time that she was going to blow up the other mines.
Oh. Yeah, so maybe just to keep it exciting, I think I see your point here. You're questioning the timing.
Yes, very much.
I don't know. Maybe so that if he turned out to be a bad guy, she was going to do them all at once. I don't know.
I mean, but I kind of get why you would not want to be there while you had detonated explosives ready to go off. You'd kind of want to be there and gone.
If she was there to check out the mine, why didn't she have her team do it if they were already there in the mines?
Because that's not in the script. No.
I loved her. Don't get me wrong. She was a great heroine. I just questioned everything she did.
Yeah, but to that effect, I think that's where Nicola is right. Like, this is like in the vein of like a action film, because like you can sit there, like a lot of action films, you're like, why did that happen? That was dumb. Why this? That's dumb. And it's like you do that all day with the action flick, and it's just because they just expect you to. They serve it up on a plate and they expect you to eat it as it is without asking.
I turn off my editor brain when I read these books, and I'll enjoy it more.
Well, you know what? It's like I had to turn off my feminism brain to enjoy some of this. I gotta be honest. So, like, you guys know, I read some spicy stuff. I mean, I am not like I'm so frail. I can't read this stuff. Oh my God. I don't feel that way. But I mean, some of it, like, some of the control things, as far as like when sex happens, I kind of didn't care for, but it's like, okay, I'm trying to just like roll with it and not like think about it too hard and just try to enjoy it for what it is and not try to bring up all the reasons why this type of control could be bad or why is she letting him do this or that. I don't know. I kind of just, so some of that kind of twitched a nerve a little bit, but I really did try to simmer my own voice and just try to enjoy it for what it was.
You gotta give him props. He was better than his brother from the first book. But yeah, there were a few things that made me a little twitchy too.
Yeah. I'm like,
yeah, I think these books are gonna appeal more. You know, these heroes are super alpha, right? And most of Zanetti's books are like that. So if you've read anything else by her, you kind of know what you're getting into. I'll just say that, and it's not for everybody. If you really don't like a hero that's kind of a take charge, sometimes asshole, these are probably not the books for you.
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, I like alpha. I do like a strong male character, because I don't like when, I guess, they're not evenly yoked and one runs over the other. So I think I'd rather have balance both ways than one much stronger personality wise than the other. And I think Cece is strong enough to handle him. And I think that's the one thing that kind of cooled my horses when it came to certain things. Is like, you know, he thinks he's the head, but she is the neck, and she's going to manipulate him. So that kind of
absolutely,
yeah, that kind of was like, okay, I'll go with it, because I know she's not just going to let him do whatever he thinks is right. She's going to do what she wants to do when it's all said and done. So that eased me a little bit, but I don't know.
Yes. And in the end, she saves herself, you know, and
she killed the bad guy she said she was going to kill. She did she finished her plan. Yep.
They what's the word I'm looking for? They stopped up a large chunk of the Planakite production, although not all of it, because we still have 3 books to go in the series. So, I think she was a good match for him. I did get. The third time she drugged him, I was kind of like, "Oh, come on!"
Like, not again? Are you really going to do this again?
It was really a little bit annoyed by that. I gotta say. I mean, I think she took some of the tropes that you see in paranormal and gave them some twists that I liked. You know, the fated mate thing is common, but this mutual branding kind of thing that they do in this book is kind of interesting. That where it is, you know, it is consensual, or you have to have. It has to be sort of a conscious choice on both sides. They say they do it accidentally, but then they kind of backtrack on that. So I feel like, you can get out of it if you...
Yeah.
I have a question about that. So at one point, he was talking with his brother Adam, and they mentioned how they'd gotten the thing on his palm, like, with some random woman centuries ago, but they willed it away. How is that possible? How does that work? Because they didn't really go. They just said, "Oh yeah, I willed it away. It's fine."
Yeah, I think if the other one doesn't accept it, it's temporary.
Okay.
Yeah, to me it seems like, okay, so if your body reacts to someone in like, oh, this could be my mate kind of way, something like shows up on their hand, and then I guess you have to actively bite them and brand them, like, and I guess that comes from losing control and not thinking about what you're doing, apparently.
Oh, that's right.
Go ahead.
Because the brother didn't do the bite. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, for her, because, like, if you remember that moment, she branded him first, because, like, they talk about his ass feeling like it was on fire, and then she bites him. And then he returns the favor. And then, bam, they've marked each other. So.
Like, I gotta say, that doesn't sound super sexy to me. Maybe it's because I'm not a demon or a witch, but the whole Fireplay during the sexy times was kind of like, I'm not into this.
Yeah, that's a little, BDSM, I guess. Fireplay, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, and, I mean, I don't. It wasn't even like
scary.
Yeah, it wasn't even traditional. I don't know. It didn't seem BDSM-ish to me. It just seemed like paranormal craziness, you know. And
yes. I mean, because even later, when they're like on the plane and she's like trying to have sex with him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so tired. I won't be able to make fire." She's like, "Who cares? Let's forget the fire. Let's just do it."
Well, I don't want that anywhere near my pink bits. Okay,
yeah.
so it's not. I have a hard time like putting myself in that place and wanting to be there. So
Yeah, please do not burn me anywhere. Thank you.
right? Well, that too. I mean, but especially,
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put that out there. It's there's some funny stuff in these books, but it's part of the world building, and it's part of the way these paranormal people are. So it's different. It wouldn't work with you or me. So I guess you just have to leave that kind of in the world building.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as even, the paranormal aspects of the world building, like even like the demons themselves have some interesting things that demons usually don't have, like the teleportation and, the mind thing they're able to do. So that's kind of unique. And I thought especially the part where her son, like Zane, I think his name is, and the other brother, what, Alan? No, not Alan. What's the brother's name?
There's Logan, Sam, and Zane.
Sam. So when Zane and Sam, they're like, oh, they make the plan when they go, to rescue their mother. They're like, okay, I'll teleport there. You go ahead. And then when we get over there, I'll bring back Logan and Mom. You grab him. I'm like, wow, they're all like thinking this through, how they're going to get back after they teleport each other.
It's like that riddle, how you get the fox and the hen and the sack of grain across the river with nobody eating anybody else.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. Honestly, I don't really wholly grasp them as witches. I mean, I don't really, obviously we know what the demons do. We know they're vampires. We know there are shifters. But, what are the witches exactly? I mean, we know that they're strong. We know that they, this group
wielders.
Right, they wield fire, but why? I mean, how? I mean, I just wish I knew. And again, like you guys mentioned earlier, this may be a direct cause of not reading the first series. We don't know. But I don't know. It's kind of I wish there was a little bit more back, even if in a not so long-winded way to explain it to us who hadn't read the other. I don't know.
One thing she does that really bothers me is she keeps saying, oh, I do this with physics and science that no human would be able to understand.
Yeah,
and that's just such a cop-out explanation.
It's just physics. It's
whatever.
Not magic.
He's like, it's science. I use science in a way that no human would understand. And I'm like, are you really using science?
I don't actually mind that, to be honest, because that's I think a little bit of an homage to, I think it was Asimov that said, sufficiently advanced science just looks like magic to people who don't understand it. So, and I'm badly mangling that quote.
It reads like a cop out to me as a reader.
Okay, I mean, I'm not going to argue that, but I'm just saying it didn't bother me.
Yeah, I don't think that bothered me too much, but I think even if she didn't want to explain the technicalities of it all, then throw in some folklore or some,
exactly,
do it in a different kind of way that could be like, oh, this is how, you know what I mean? So we get a little bit, you don't have to tell us the technical stuff. Throw us a bone. Something. Throw us a bone.
It's almost like the flux capacitor. Sorry, I'm going to get nerdy on you here. But, they just they don't ever explain the science. They just say, it's science, it's real. And he never says, it's science you don't understand. It's just, it's science that he knows. And so if she kind of went about it that way, instead of saying that no human would understand what I'm doing with this, it was that part that really, it was almost like she was talking down to me. Does that make sense?
I mean, I understand how you could feel that way, but I didn't feel that, but I just felt I wanted just a little bit more, but yeah. I understand, Casey. I understand what you're saying. And I just wanted a little more, but I don't think I wanted to know how the chromosomes work and how this and how that, because then it would kind of get kind of
know that, but just like don't tell me that I won't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it hit a nerve. Or it hit a nerve with me.
Oh.
Well, that's fair. It didn't bother me, so.
I did like the secondary characters. I like them a lot. Like, I like that we got to get a little bit of foreshadowing of what's going to go on with, what's the guy's name?
Simone.
Alan.
Nick.
And why I keep saying Alan? Is it? No, not. I'm talking about Lexi's sister,
Tori,
and one of the brothers,
Adam.
I feel like,
is it Logan?
No, maybe Adam. Yeah, him, Adam. Right. I think it is.
He wants a docile kitten for a mate. That Adam.
Yes, I think that's going to be interesting when they get together, because I see that coming.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's already like, Lexi, tell your sister to, when's Lexi going to tell her sister to stop messing with those bear changers? They're dangerous. Like, not her business.
Yeah, he doesn't want her, but he doesn't want the bear to have her either.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I like her. She's kind of witty. I kind of can tell she's going to be an interesting character because, while they're talking to her, they don't want to tell her what's going on. But she's like, look, I'm not an idiot. Someone's going to tell me what's going on, one way or another. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's a little glimpse of how she's going to be.
Yeah, I actually liked Tori right in the beginning. From the first book, I had a quote highlighted from her that made me laugh, where she gets picked up by I'm gonna mess up all the names, but when they were trying to get everything under control, and they went and picked up Alex's sister and mother, and they're driving around, and the sister starts talking about Lexi's past exploits and why she's no good with men to her new boyfriend, and she's like, she has daddy issues, and it's just like, oh my god. Anyway, I liked her from the beginning, and she's a singer, right? So that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And then Adam is a geek. He's an engineer, technologist.
Yeah, and he has a plan for everything. He has like the long game plan.
He's like, he reminds me a little, in this book, he reminded me a little bit of Q from James Bond. He had all the gadgets to get everything done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like him. I think they'll be interesting to read about, I feel like. I also kind of am looking forward to see what happens with the cousin. What's her name? Simone. Yeah, I'm like, I don't think she did it. What she's accused of in this book, they had all this evidence that she was involved in moving money and doing all these other things. But I'm curious to see how that's going to unfold as far as like the long-term plot, I'm assuming the next book is going to wrap it up, but as far as her involvement, but I'm curious to see how that plays out. That should be interesting.
That sounds like straight up forgery to me, but what do I know?
It probably is, but I'm sure they're going to make it really, well, I hope that Zanetti makes it a little convoluted where it's like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you'll have to question everything.
Yeah. Oh, we will question everything. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
Everything you thought you knew about the world of demons and witches.
Right.
In a world.
Okay. So Nicola, you got to tell me, was there anything that you, didn't like in this installment? I'm curious. Tell us.
Well, the polar bears got me a little bit itchy, and again, like I mentioned earlier, the fire during sex is not doing it for me.
Yeah.
But generally, I really liked it. I liked the pacing, and I liked the strength of Cece's character, and I liked how she just kind of befuddled him all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do think Cece is my favorite thing about this book. Like, she really stands out to me as a unique and heroine. I mean, she's not all like, she's not all alpha and no one can talk to her or tell her anything, but she's also like, she's a well-balanced character. I think we get to see a lot of different sides to her. I feel like she made this book, in my opinion. If she were any different, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much as I did.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And I know I questioned a lot of her actions and her plans, and I didn't understand things, but I really, like you said, like, she made this book. I really liked her. And I love the fact that she wasn't one thing. Like, she was a badass, and she was a mother, and she's also a grandmother, but she's also really young for being a demon and has her whole life ahead of her. And even though people kept telling her to sit back and relax, she's like, no, I'm going to go rob banks because this is fun. Mm-hmm. And then she told her son, like, if you ever need money, just let me know and I'll go rob a bank for you. Even though he's the king of demons or whatever. Uh-huh. Like, she was just fun. Yeah. And she wasn't boxed into a pretty little label of like, oh, you're just going to be a badass who kicks butt. No, she had a whole spectrum. Mm-hmm. And I really, really enjoyed that. So, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I concur.
Can we talk about the bear shifters? Because I really want them to get some books. Like, I know they were more active in the first book, but they keep showing up. And I really hope that Alpha Bear guy, I think his name is Bear, I hope he gets a book. Because he's fun.
I agree.
I suspect we'll hear from them again when we get to the book with the sister. I know she gets her own book because when I was looking, I feel like it's either book 4 or 5. I can't remember which one. But I feel like when we get back around to Alexandra's sister, I can't remember her name. It escaped me that fast. We'll have Tori, yes. We'll get some interaction with mm-hmm. the bear shifters again. Because, she's hanging out with them, so...
Yeah, she's kind of dating Lucas, fun. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So who knows? Maybe even the lead bear guy will find a love interest, maybe. Maybe.
I hope so. He deserves it.
Yeah, I could see that being the next spinoff series.
When Alexandra comes back and makes her little cameo at the end, he's right back there, like, flirting with her, like, oh my God. Like, stop.
Yeah. You need your own woman. She's taken. Come on, let's find somebody for you.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that was part of the polar bear thing, right? Because they did kind of say a couple times, no, they couldn't possibly be shifters, but they kind of sounded not right. So maybe it turns out that they're, what do they call it? They've gone feral or whatever happens when you stay in your mm-hmm. bear form too long. Mm-hmm. And, so that could be a plot element for the bear books. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying the polar bear thing really bothered me is what I'm saying. So
yeah.
Because that's more of a the shifter bears do hang out together, right? Mm-hmm. But wild mm-hmm. bears do not. So or natural bear, whatever you want to call the non-shifter bears. So
animals.
Yeah, I think we want to see the motorcycle club blow up. We want to see the Planakite drug issue resolved. So there's a lot to wrap up in this series. If it's 5 books, you can kind of see the structure of the arc already. Mm-hmm. So I could absolutely see. I don't know that the bears are going to come into this series unless it turns out to be longer than I think it is. But the way she breaks up her series, I could totally see that being another one.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I would love when it's all said and done to have a clear understanding of why a witch would work with a demon or whoever to make Planakite when it will hurt them. So I know they kind of touched on it a little bit. Like they really did not, they had a problem with the Coven 9. So, or they had a problem with the enforcers. So that's why they were helping. But I want more than that. I want to know, like, what is the root of this? And I hope we get that when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the next big intrigue, right? So there is a mm-hmm. witch working with the demons to produce this stuff, and we don't know who it is, and we don't know what's going on, but we suspect it's probably whoever's behind the rumor campaign against Simone to get her out of the coven.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever is angling for that next spot is probably related to it. And if they own it, then they probably believe that it can't be turned against them. And if they can own it and control it, then they can sort of take over the witch nation or ruling body or whatever they want to call it. And that seems like it's quite a bit of power. So I think that's what's going on there with the traitor witch.
And I hope this bad guy gets more depth than the current bad guy from our Wicked Edge book, because this guy was just too, I don't know, one-dimensional. He was just evil. And he didn't even care. He was all like, oh yeah, I'm working with the witch, but I don't know why, and I don't care to know why. I'm just evil. So I work with other evil people.
Yeah. And I mean, even at the end there, when he was going to have Cece injected to, break with the, as I like to call, the divorce drug. Because that's her thing. Yeah. I'm like, this guy, he is really wretched. He's like, oh, well, if you survive, and then maybe I'll do this to you, and maybe I'll do that. And then I'm like, oh my God, this guy's nasty. Get out. Ugh. Just die.
Yeah.
Because he's the worst. I'm like, ugh. Just cringy all over. I guess he's a real bad guy, but I wonder when we see the ultimate, like you said, is it going to be something really convoluted and really bad and not something basic like someone being jealous because they didn't get picked? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. If it's just something over like not being picked originally for that one spot, then I'm going to be so upset.
Yeah.
Because that's the weakest bad guy motivation ever.
Well, the bad guy motivation is always power. Bad guy motivation is always about power. Even, what's his name's? Ivan's. Is it Ivan? Even Ivan's, or no. Is Ivan the doctor or the bad guy? He's the bad guy. So even Ivan's motivation wasn't about getting her and killing her. It was about getting the children so that he could gain power in the demon world. So it's all, I mean, it in politics as in fiction, or especially paranormal fiction, I think it boils down to building your power base.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, that guy is the worst, but okay, yeah.
Like the Steve Martin routine, ultimate power. Oh, if I could have but one wish this Christmas season, it would be ultimate power over all human beings.
Yeah.
If I could have two wishes, it would be... You guys know that routine?
I don't.
No.
Oh.
I just keep citing all this classic stuff that you guys don't know. I'll send you a link.
Okay, thank you. Like, fill me in. I want to know. All right. So, I don't know. Do you guys want to wrap this up? Any last thoughts on Wicked Edge before we rate it?
I will just note that, like many paranormal action-oriented stuff, this one's pretty gory. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of, wounds that are pretty, for a human would kill you. There's decapitations that involve a lot of work to get the head off, And apparently that's the only way you can kill these immortals is with decapitation. So that happens pretty regularly. So if you got a weak stomach, I don't know if this is the book for you.
It felt very Kill Bill.
I don't know. I guess I'm used to reading
with the blood.
Well, I guess I'm used to reading things with a lot of violence in them because that didn't bother me at all. And I didn't even notice it was that bad. Like, I guess put up to, the Black Dagger Brotherhood series where they're murdering people every other page. And even the Night Huntress series by Janine Frost, that was pretty violent as well. I guess I'm just used to it. So this is definitely, I think, is more edgier than most probably paranormal romance. I'll agree with that. But as far as, like, if you read those other things, you probably won't even bat an eyelash at the level of what's going on in this book.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that. I'm just calling it out that, there's fountains of blood from now more than once. You know?
Yeah, there's lots of blood.
I did laugh. There was a line that I highlighted. I think there's a lot of things that made me laugh in this book. You know, there's just sort of the dialogue and the way that people interact with each other, the way the characters interact. There was one line where, you know, Dare's apartment had been broken into like for the 5th or 6th time. and he like looks at the door hanging from the hinge and he's just like, maybe I should just move. And it made me laugh out loud. So just little things like that I really enjoy about this book and the characters.
Awesome. Cece, do you have any last comments?
It wasn't the best book I ever read. I did have a lot of plot issues, but if I turn off my editor brain, like, it was enjoyable. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would have picked this up on my own, but I stuck with it for the podcast. So,
okay.
I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you for finishing it for the podcast. Well, I will say I definitely enjoyed Wicked Edge a lot more than Wicked Ride. So for me, this is going in the right direction because I liked it more. And if it gets better and better as we go through the 5 books, I'll be ecstatic by book 5. Yes. So, I mean, I did enjoy it. It was an enjoyable read overall. You know, like Cece, we had different issues, but I did have some issues. Yeah. But I mean, definitely, I feel like if you have read Zanetti's other series, then you will read this and you'll know what to expect and you'll love it. But if you're jumping in like us, it's probably going to take a book or two before you're really like in the comfort zone. If you like something maybe a little 3? Bit different, yeah, or maybe 3, yeah. But definitely give it a try. I mean, I think it's good. And I think as long as we keep going in the upward direction as we read further, I mean, I'm on board.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely getting better. I love this one a lot more than the first one. Mm-hmm. So I'm hopeful that the next one will be even better.
Okay. Well, in tradition, as we always do, let's rate it 1 to 5 as you can on Goodreads. Who'd like to go first?
I'll go first. This is a solid 4 series for me. And I think 4 covers a pretty big range for me, just so you know. There's some 4s that I like better than other 4s, but it's better than average. It's got a lot of fun characters. I like the world building could be a little bit more explained, I think, as my partners have observed, but I suspect you'd get that if you'd read the first series. But I do enjoy the way the paranormal powers play off each other, so I'm going to say that overall this series so far is a 4 for me.
Cece?
So I'm going with 3 stars. Mm-hmm. I love Cece, but she was really the only strong point in the book for me. There were far too many plot holes and inconsistencies, and there were typos that I was trying not to nitpick over, but you know, I can't not mention that there. So a solid 3, but I'm hopeful for the next one.
Okay. I, too, am going to chime in at a 3. Even though I did give the last book a 3 also, if I had to, weigh it, I feel like this is a much higher 3 than the other. I mean, this is almost a 4 for me. It's almost a 4. But I couldn't, since we don't, we're not doing halves, I had to go with 3. I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm looking to see how these characters evolve as they show up in cameos in the next upcoming books. And I think like I said earlier, as long as the story gets more interesting to me and better to me as we keep going, I'm enjoying it. It's definitely not something I would have picked for myself. No question there. But I'm happy to be reading it. It's definitely something different. And when you read a lot of things about vampires or wolves or whatever, to get a different take on paranormal is always fun, because I've never read about witches in this capacity or demons in this capacity, and I'm enjoying those aspects.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, everyone. If you are reading along with us, please comment and let us know using the hashtag 3bloggers1series, and let us know what you thought of Wicked Edge. right?
Yes.
We'll be happy to talk to you. So we'll tweet with you if you tweet at us using the hashtag. So, all right, ladies, are we done?
We're done.
We are done.
Fabulous. Well, thank you again for joining me. I look forward to next month because I know we'll have some fun things to talk about then as well. And thank you everyone for spending your, 50 minutes with us. We hope you enjoyed the episode. And again, feel free to reach out to us. So until next time, happy reading, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's book chat episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy all things bookish, including author interviews. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.